COSATU is looking forward to the implementation of the long-sought two-part pension reforms from 1 September. Millions of workers are anxiously waiting for this relief, and we've been waiting for quite some time. The two-part reforms is an idea that COSATU first proposed in 2020 to help millions of workers who are struggling during COVID and who are not being paid. And whilst the pandemic has come and gone, workers remain highly indebted. And currently the law doesn't give workers access to the pension funds unless they retire, lose their jobs, or they resign. As a consequence, many workers, when they're highly indebted or encountering financial emergencies, choose to resign, which provides momentary relief to pay off whatever financial emergency they were facing, but then it leaves workers unemployed in an economy with a 42% unemployment rate. It also sees workers' pension funds being depleted repeatedly and leaving workers in poverty when they retire. The two-part reforms reaches many objectives simultaneously. The first issue is that on 1 September, workers will be able to withdraw 10% up to 30,000 Rand from the existing savings. They will retain access to the existing savings which remain beyond that, beyond the 1st of September. So workers who currently might have some savings accumulated can continue to access that after September. Going forward, there's no need to resign. Workers will retain access to the existing savings, whether they retire, they lose a job, or they choose to resign. Going forward, from September onwards, future savings will be divided into two pots. 2/3 will be in a preservation pot, which workers would access when they retire, and engagements are taking place with Treasury to make sure that also workers who lose their jobs can also access that, because workers who lost their jobs must have access to all the money to save their families, their home, their property, and so forth. A third will go to your savings pot, which workers can access once a year without having to resign. So this is a unique set of pension reforms, the first set of reforms we hope to have further going forward, but it's very positive that there's consensus between COSATU, government and business. It's going to benefit millions of workers who are highly indebted, who are struggling. Workers are going to get up to 30,000 Rand from 1 September from the existing savings. Workers no longer need to resign, and workers we encourage not to resign because there's no more need to do so. Workers can get a third of their future savings going forward, and in the longer term, more of workers' pension funds will be preserved for when they retire. So it helps to address many crises whilst leaving workers employed and giving them the equivalent from September onwards of a 13th check once a year. It will not resolve all of workers' debt issues, but a 13th check equivalent, 30,000 on 1 September and a third of future savings will go a long way to plug short-term debt, credit card, stored loan debt, fixing the car, fixing the house, school fees, and so forth. This is the beginning of a journey. We're going to have engagements on future reforms, but right now we're looking forward for a smooth implementation. And as COSATU, we are engaging at NEDLEC weekly with government, with the pension funds, to make sure there's a smooth implementation. But this is a unique set of reforms driven by COSATU that's going to give relief to millions of workers, and workers are keen to see it happening. Workers have struggled for far too long, and it's time that they have choices about how their pension funds are used and to ensure that those pension funds are used to benefit workers and their families, because this is their money.